Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Sports. Today we're going to be doing a video about the winners and the losers in Rassie Erasmus' squad. Unfortunately, there can only be so many players in a squad, and it's always interesting to sort of see the players who have missed out, the players who are the surprise inclusions, and the players who can really use the opportunity, and I think that there's so many different winners that I haven't even listed as kind of the major ones, which is a pretty long list. I think somebody like an Ambrose Papier is a massive winner in the squad, but at the same time, it was kind of always going to have to happen with the kind of form he's been in throughout the URC season. There's so many interesting inclusions, so many interesting exclusions, that it's difficult to kind of whittle it down. So I've kind of just gone with about 5 winners and sort of 3-4 losers of players who I think will be really frustrated or doesn't bode well for them not being in the squad, given the fact that we are now under 18 months to go to the World Cup, and I think if you're not part of this 46-man squad, if you're not currently injured, you're probably not part of the World Cup plans. Let's be brutally honest. I mean, we've still got a good injury list of 10 odd players, maybe even a bit more, which means you're kind of now sitting there saying, well, you're not probably in the top 55, top 60 players, and it's unlikely to be able to go from being outside of the top 60 players to being within the 33 players that'll get onto a plane and go to Australia. It can happen. It can definitely happen, but it's unlikely. You'll need a lot of things to go right. You'll need to have an absolutely phenomenal next season. You'll need to have a certain amount of fortuitous injuries, and a lot of different things will have to really kind of align to be able for that to kind of happen. But it's unlikely. Before we get into it, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Please do consider becoming a member of the channel as well. Link in the description. Lots of cool benefits, such as the exclusive WhatsApp community, getting access to new platforms, as well as, very importantly, a Springbok raffle, basically, well, not a raffle, but a giveaway of tickets within our members. So all the members of our channel will be going into a pot, and we'll be drawing a winner to go and watch the Springboks versus the All Blacks at the FNB Stadium, and you need to make sure you're part of a member to be able to be part of that draw, which will take place in August. So go and check out the link in the description and become a member of the channel. Let's get into it, shall we? And the first one is a pretty obvious one. This man over here, the SA Under-20 captain, Riley Norton. What a game he had over the weekend, and a player who's not played a lot of rugby at senior level, but looked like he had been playing for years. That was the reality of his performance against the Barbarians. And yes, we know it's the Barbarians, and it's kind of a bit disjointed, and they haven't been around for a while. But similarly, the Springboks haven't been together for that long, and he just looked very comfortable in his role. Whether he makes the World Cup, that's a whole different conversation. But the fact of the matter is, Rassie Erasmus has spoken about the fact that he's got an aura about him, he's got a maturity. He understands what senior rugby is about. He understands the kind of levels, the standards required to be a senior and a rugby player and to play at the highest level. And that is why we've got a player who's being fast-tracked. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete when you think that he also played, obviously, the SA Under-19, played in the Under-19 Rugby, Cricket World Cup. He's won the SA Under-20, with the SA Under-20, won the Under-20 World Championship, and now he's played for the Springboks, not quite yet capped, but could very well get capped in the next few weeks. Who knows? I could very well see him getting a game against Wales. And whether he goes to the World Cup, not quite the point. But the fact of the matter is, he is the next generation. He looks like a future Springbok captain in waiting. And for him to be getting this kind of experience, especially from a leadership point of view, working with Siya Kolisi, working with some of the leaders in that Springbok squad, it'll do him a massive good for his development. And we're then going to get to our first loser, and that's this man who was brought in from the cold, played over the weekend, got a try as well, was finally back, and everybody was really excited about Faf de Klerk, one of the most iconic South African scrum halves in the last sort of decade, or ever really, and a fan favorite. He misses the squad, and he'll be very frustrated given the fact that he was brought back in. I thought he actually played very well on Saturday, and it kind of goes to show just how good the scrum half stocks are, especially considering the fact that Morne van den Berg, for example, is injured, who would have been part of the squad as well. So, I mean, Rassie Erasmus will never close the door on Faf de Klerk, and I think he is one of the players who's not maybe on the squad who could very well still be at the World Cup next year, because we kind of know what we get with him. We very much understand his role. It'll be very interesting to sort of see kind of what happens now. He's coming back to the Cheetahs. He won't be playing URC rugby. It was an interesting move that in itself. And yeah, he'll be a bit frustrated about the lack of inclusion. And it could just mean that we might not see him in green gold again. But never say never. Another big inclusion is obviously this man over here. And the planets have aligned for him. because there's no Jordan Hendrickson. There's no such Feinberg-Mngomezulu. Two players who have played, obviously, at 10 for the Boks in the last year. Such Feinberg-Mngomezulu, currently our number one fly half. There was also no Andre Pollard. And as a result, Rassie Moya was drafted into the squad because we needed fly half cover. Hakeem Ahmed is also obviously there. And Rassie Moya looked very comfortable on Saturday. He has been retained. I mean, him and Riley Norton will miss the under-20 World Championship because of their involvement in the Boks. And you'd like to think that if they're going to miss that kind of that showpiece, and there's such important players within that there are plans for them to play and become a test player. Now, he looks like a Springbok in waiting. I mean, he's got everything. He's got a good boot, he's got good physicality, he's got a nice touch about him, a bit more traditional sort of fly half than necessarily the running fly half that we're kind of seeing in the Hakeem Ahmed, for example, a Moni Liebach type of style. He's a bit more in the mold of a Andre Pollard, but definitely has a good touch about him, decent distribution, a good game management. I think it's the maturity of his game management that I really enjoyed, particularly in his under-20 championship last year. Big opportunity for him. And this man over here, well, we talk about injuries at the wrong time, missed the Springbok season effectively last year, most of it and lots of it, and hasn't been able to get back into the squad. And it's a big win, for example, like an Evan Ruiz who's been included, and a Cameron Hanekom, but it's included. But it's interesting to think that when you look at back 2 years ago and how well he was coming off the bench, he looked like he was going to be a mainstay in the Springbok squad. But Albert Lowe is not part of the squad, and it'll be a big disappointment for him that he hasn't been able to get back to kind of the levels he was at as quickly as he'd like to. Not to say he was bad for the Bulls, for example, but he missed a lot of the season due to injury. And you've then got something like Evan Ruiz been playing week in, week out at a very high standard, and they've gone with the form. So I think the sheriff, as they call him, will be back, but he'll be frustrated to have missed out on this one. Then we've got one of probably the biggest surprise inclusion. That's Herschel Jantjies, back from the cold as well. A World Cup winner. That's his World Cup medal in his hand over there in that photo. He came from Varsity Shield to winning a World Cup within a few years, and then almost disappeared as quickly as it came in. I said at the time when he made the move to France, is exactly what he needed. He fell out of form. He had a lot of scrutiny from the South African public. He was being pulled apart on social media, a lot of pressure on him. He wasn't quite doing it for the Stormers. And unfortunately, kind of had probably more bad games than good games at a stage. And even when he had a good game, he didn't quite sort of endear himself to the fans for whatever reason. I don't think necessarily his fault either. And I said at the time, I think going away will be doing him a lot of good. You know, he'll be able to do a bit of a reset, get out of the limelight and go and just play some rugby. And he's been playing really good rugby in France. It's an interesting inclusion to have him ahead of a Faf de Klerk, for example. Even people saying ahead of a Harsh Impede. Even Nico Steiner had a very good game over the weekend. But it's a big opportunity for him. The Springbok management do know him. And the fact he's been included means I think they're obviously very chuffed with what's happened in France, the way he's playing, and they see a role. We like to have quick scrum masters. We really do like scrum masters with a good turn of pace. He very much has that. And there's obviously whatever the game plan is, the squad's being picked within that in mind. Another player who'd be unlucky to miss out is this man over here, JJ van der Mesch, who won the Prem over the weekend with Northampton Saints after a phenomenal season. My prediction is that he will become a Springbok this year. And whilst I think, obviously a lot of people wanted to see him in the squad, I think that we will see him during the course of the year. I think he's played a lot of rugby for Northampton Saints. I think he's obviously just come off the back of that. And Rassie Erasmus has even spoken about the fact that Willemse needed a bit of time, and somebody like Evan Etzebeth once had a lot of time. He has played he's played 1,200 minutes of rugby this season since September. It's a lot of rugby. And, we don't have it confirmed yet. We haven't actually been able to ask Rassie Erasmus about the exclusion. My gut says I think that they'll want him to have a break. And I have a sneaky suspicion we'll see him against the All Blacks. And or at least in the squad in and around that time. Maybe against Argentina. But I think that they'll give him a bit of time off. And, I personally think if we go into the World Cup tomorrow, I'll be taking him ahead of Riley Norton. Somebody who's played at that kind of high level and can be a point of difference for the Boks. We talk about the fact we only have one enforcer. Well, this is our other enforcer. But he hasn't been included, so it's a big loss but I think that he will be part of the squad. I think we will see him play this year. I could be completely wrong, but I have a sneaky suspicion that he is very much on the radar. And then a massive winner is this man, Carly Sardi. Now, if you've been following a lot of sort of rugby over the last couple of years, he's had such an interesting career. He came up to the Lions and where he kind of made it and established himself as one of the top performing tight ends, especially from a scrummaging point of view. Went to the Sharks, injuries didn't quite work out for him. Lots of competition as well. Didn't get the kind of game time that he would like. Then he went over to Bordeaux and started playing some really, really good rugby. And I don't think too many people were surprised. He was kind of, I think he was made for the French league. Big man. Not that he can't get around the park, but proper solid scrummaging sort of tight head. And then had a horrific injury where it looked like his career could have been over. He even said during the press conference, if you haven't seen it, it's on the channel, that he wasn't sure he's going to play rugby again. And he was supposed to make the move to the Bulls, and Bordeaux said no. And then he got that injury, and Bordeaux said, we're going to renew your contract. We're going to do a lot to keep you. We're going to give you that support. We're going to get you back to playing rugby. And he played 1,300 minutes over the past season for Bordeaux. Played lots of rugby. Very, very consistent performer. Lots of games starting, and it's a very good Bordeaux side. That won the. I mean, he started in the Champions Cup win when they won the Champions Cup. So it's a big victory for him, and especially on a personal note, given what he had to get through to get there. So it's exciting. But these are my winners and my losers. What would you change? What are your winners? What are your losers? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon.